the reason why we're doing this episode is due to two different episodes that came out on another podcast, the Low Carb Consultant podcast with Max Helmer. We've hosted him. I've been on the show. You were his very first guest. And the first episode that I saw on there was with Dr. Sarah Zaldivar, mutual friend of both of ours. She's somebody that we've hosted on our show twice. She has recently, moved away from a carnivore diet herself, which is fine. And, the title of the episode was something like, quitting a carnivore diet with Dr.
Yep.
Sarah Zaldivar, whatever it was. I looked at it. I didn't listen to that one. I've heard the song and dance a few times, and I wasn't super compelled by that just because I've heard more people doing that recently. I kind of knew what to expect. So I didn't really pay that much attention to, but I am subscribed to a show. I think it's really good. A few weeks later, I see Coach Bronson Dant replies to Dr. Zaldivar and that episode. And now I'm like, okay, now I have some incentive. We're going to get some spice here. I listened to the first episode, and I got to say, I was not super impressed with some of the things that I was hearing as far as the justifications for, leaving a carnivore diet and almost suggesting the reasons why somebody should leave a carnivore diet. I think those are two different things. But I thought it was tough to hear a few of the points you made. Listening to your episode was so much more logical. It was more concise. It explained a lot of things. So I wanted to kind of ask you about that experience. What was it like listening to the episode, the first time? What were some of the things that you were thinking about, some of the claims that were being made, and what things were maybe there was some validity to, and other things you were like, yeah, this is just not right?
That's a wide open question. Listening to that again, I think you said it really well. Heard the song and dance, I don't know how many times. So there wasn't anything new that I heard as far as claims or justification behind any decisions that she was making or anybody makes. It's always the same things. And it'd be nice, honestly, if somebody decided to change and they had something new. I haven't seen it yet. I'm just thinking about all the different reasons. I think for me, the biggest challenge as a coach, and I think I'm always going to be a coach, even though I'm getting away from coaching and I'm getting more into the science and getting more into a different area of focus. I mean, Natalie says all the time that no matter what I do, I can never get away from coach. So I just think like that. I've been doing it for so long. As a coach, I am very protective of the people that I feel responsible for. One of the biggest challenges I have ever had as a coach has been caring about my clients' success more than they do. And I know you can relate to that. Right? How many times does somebody come in and you can see the potential, you can see where they're going, you know the challenges they're going to face before they do, but you also know that they can do it, and you want to be there and watch them through the entire process. The best experience as a coach is when somebody graduates from needing you, right? And having to go through that experience with somebody is the most fulfilling. I do that for that reason. Right? Any money or business that I make out of that is secondary to that. Right? I make barely any money for what I do right now. And you can't compare to that level, to that fulfillment that you get from watching people that you directly help improve. From that perspective, it really is challenging and difficult to hear people who have received that same level of trust from their followers and subscribers, who have spent a long time building a channel, building their subscriber base, building a business around a message, to then completely flip that message after people have improved their lives doing what they said the first time. You can't take that away. Right? There's a lot of people that Dr. Zaldivar has helped. There's a lot of people that Zane Griggs has helped. There's a lot of people that other people in the space who are now going back on what they said originally. They've helped those people because that information was good information. And that doesn't mean the information they have now is bad information. What it does mean is that it's confusing, and I don't think it's fair to their subscribers. It's confusing, and I don't think it's fair to send a message that just because I've made a change, that I'm going to find some scientific reason to justify you need to do the same thing. Even though what you've been doing for the last 5 years, based off of my recommendations or their recommendations, has been working for you and you've seen progress and success, right? It completely negates the whole concept of individual results and individual interventions and in the N equals one process. If it's been working for you and you've been following me, my guidance saying this is the way to do it, and I decide to change for whatever reasons I decide to change, that doesn't mean you have to change too. You are not me. And that's not been in the conversation anywhere. Every conversation I have seen has been some level of convoluted scientific explanations, justifications for why they've decided to do something that is half of the information in many cases, because there's a tendency to focus on one mechanism that works and not talk about all the other mechanisms that do the same thing because the other mechanisms don't fall within the new paradigm, right? I'm going to now eat carbs because I need insulin. I'm going to talk about the insulin response to carbs, but I'm not going to mention that fat and protein stimulate insulin as well. And I don't want to do that anymore, right? So I think there's a lot of personal preference that's in here that's not being discussed. There's just a lot of things that are individual to the person making the change. And I think that using your platform to fear monger people into following you as you go in a different direction because you don't want to lose your audience, right? That's technically an assumption. I don't know if that's really the case, but that's what it looks like to me, right? And to me, if it looks like a duck and smells like a duck and it quacks like a duck, right? So, you know, we talked about this on another video. There's a difference between coaches like us who make content and content creators. Content creators' product is their content. If they decide to make different content, they need to figure out a way to get their content consumers to stay with them. Coaches, our mindset, and I think you firmly believe this, I think we're very much of the same mind. We are lighthouses. My product is not content. I use content to help my product. My product is my customers and my subscribers' success. Where do they go? Are they getting what they need where they are? And is it helping them get to where they want to go? That is the product that I am trying to put out with the information and the content I create. So what that means is I don't have to change my topics and content and what I'm doing based on the algorithm. And if I decide to change or tweak or adjust my message, maybe there's something I learned in this doctoral program that says, oh, wait a second, this is a little different nuance I need to start putting in my content. I don't have to tell everybody, hey, this is the new way to do it. Everything before is wrong. If you're doing it that way, like it's an evolution and an expansion of my existing knowledge. It's not a complete turnaround. Right. And so that's where I think you can tell if someone is really trying to further the progress of people that are subscribed to them, or if they're just trying to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And that was very unscripted and just off the top of my head, but that's kind of how I look at it.
No, I love it. I look at it the same way that you do. And the frustrating thing is, again, if you're learning something, you're progressing your knowledge, you're changing something, like, God bless you. That's amazing. It's just when 10 of my clients come to me and they're like you described on Max's podcast, my clients are freaking out about this stuff.
Yep.
This person did this for so long. I followed them forever. Now they're saying it's bad for long-term health. What is going on? What's going to happen to me? What carbs should I bring in now? And it's like, whoa. Hold your horses. Like, this is just one person's decision. But you're right. It's not put out as like, hey, I was doing this, now I'm doing this other thing. It is that content creation around this and the sensationism of like quitting carnivore, leaving carnivore. It's such clickbaity.
Well, and you have people literally making claims saying things like, I did carnivore until it didn't work, and I had to put in carbs to fix this problem. right? Like what? No. Number one, carnivore wasn't the reason for the problem. Number two, carbs may have fixed that symptom, but you're introducing other variables you didn't have to worry about before that could have longer term impact in a negative sense. So it's not a full story. It's very, like you said, sensationalized. Um, and yes, I've had clients and I've had subscribers and I've had people in groups that are like, what the heck is going on? What am I doing? People that are doing better than they've ever done in their life, thinking they have to go backwards to something that they already have tried. And it is part of the reason they were sick to begin with. Right. So yeah, I think it's a little sad and frustrating.
Yeah, I just want to bring up some of the claims. Dr. Zaldivar, obviously, kind of her thing is all about dopamine. That was one of the episodes I posted her about. She explained
Yep.
some certain things. I'm not going to even pretend to know a fraction of what she knows about dopamine, which is just fine. But, central to the claim of that interview that she did was like, you need carbohydrates to help stimulate dopamine, which raises your baseline of dopamine. And I that's not something I've ever heard. Do you know much about that
I
and
don't
that claim
know much
itself?
about that. My understanding, she was talking about the link of carbs to energy and some other things that indirectly helped increase dopamine
Got it. Okay. Well,
from exercise and things like that. Like dopamine rises when you exercise.
got it.
Those types of things. I don't know of a direct, and it's possible it's there, but I don't know of a direct link between carb intake and dopamine
Yeah, got it. I don't either. And
outside
like,
of outside of the psychological effect of the enjoyment you may get from eating carb foods, right? So there's potential like, hey, if I'm eating donuts, I'm sure my dopamine's doing pretty good.
well, so where
Right?
where's the line between my dopamine is high and now where do you start pushing into food addiction? Like what the hell is the difference?
Nat, you want to get in on that one? Yeah, that's something she gets fired up about. Like you're focused on dopamine so much, but no one's addressing the addiction aspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know what I would do. I would
absolutely.
do the same thing. I'd binge the donuts and have a good old time doing it and have a really hard time stopping for sure.